My name is Peter Murphy, and I'm at the Quinnipiac University Great Famine Voices Show, and it's June of 2019, and I've been asked to talk about some of my ancestors that came to the United States many years ago. Thomas Addis Emmet is the older brother of Robert Emmet, the iconic Irish rebel who led the failed rebellion of 1803. Thomas was a lawyer in Ireland in the late 18th century, was a member of the United Irishmen, and in 1798 was arrested along with several of his colleagues. He was sent to prison in Scotland after testifying in front of the House of Lords Special Committee on the United Irishmen, and he spent 3.5 years in prison in Scotland and was ultimately released. He went to France for a while to try to enlist the aid of the French government, including under Napoleon, to stage another invasion of Ireland, but Napoleon had little interest at that point. So in late 1804, Thomas boarded a ship from Bordeaux in the west of France to come to the United States with his wife and some of his children. The others came later. He arrived in New York City in late 1804 and quickly became an attorney at the bar in New York, replacing Alexander Hamilton, who had been killed in a duel not long before. And for the next nearly quarter of a century, Thomas Addis Emmet practiced law in New York. He did civil rights cases. He prosecuted the first slave trading case in the United States. And his law firm, which is now called Emmet, Marvin & Martin, is still in existence in the 21st century. There are no Emmets in the firm anymore, but it has retained its name in Manhattan. In 1824, he argued a famous case before the Supreme Court, and his opposing attorney was Daniel Webster. The case was Gibbons versus Ogden, which established the Commerce Clause of the United States Constitution, reaffirming the rights of the federal government to oversee interstate commerce in this country. And his relatives have prospered in this country, and Thomas was highly regarded as a leading attorney in the city of New York and throughout the country at that time. And at his funeral in 1827, it was one of the largest funerals up to that time ever held in the city of New York. And we have certainly many relatives now living in this country, descendants of Thomas, and I'm obviously one of many, hundreds perhaps, and so that's sort of where the story is at this point. There's a lot more details. I'm working on a book on his life, and I'm related to Thomas through my mother's family. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was an Emmet, and as I said, we have a number of relatives who were very prominent in different fields. One was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner in the 1870s in the U.S. Army. We had a couple of brothers who were killed in the Civil War. And I'm in touch with a lot of my relatives currently. And the reason I chose to write about Thomas is that his brother Robert, of course, had gained the notoriety of being the rebel leader in 1803, who unfortunately died of unnatural causes in 1803 at the hands of the English government in St. Catherine's Square in Dublin. Thomas lived a much longer life, dying of natural causes in 1827 while trying a case in New York City. And can't think of anything more to add at this point, but that's some of my family.